Good morning. I am Reverend Stephanie Williams, address 1379 Grand Opera Cove, Memphis, Tennessee 38106. I'm here today, with your permission, commissioners, to ask for clarity, accountability, transparency regarding the More for Memphis ordinance. More for Memphis raises more questions than it answers, and Memphis residents deserve the truth. So today, I'm here to ask questions that I believe Commissioner Whaley and Commissioner Sugarman and the founders of More for Memphis owe to our community. So one, Commissioner Whaley, can you provide us with concrete evidence that More for Memphis has already raised $1 million in private philanthropy capital, where is that documentation? Two, if $100 million has indeed been raised, why are you still seeking additional taxpayer funding? Number three, the plan states that you aim to raise an additional $300 million. If so, why not operate as a fully private foundation? Why burden the taxpayers? Four, can you confirm how the $100 million supposedly raised has been allocated so far? What specific projects or initiatives have been funded? Five, how will Memphis residents be able to track where this $1.4 billion is spent over the next 5 years? Will there be any independent overnight? Number six, why was More for Memphis not structured to include direct input and control from local organizations already engaged in poverty reductions? Seven, Commissioner Whaley, what is your personal and financial relationship with the founders or key figures of More for Memphis? Number eight, Commissioner Sugarman, in the absence, but thank God for the presence, can you tell us your relationship with the founders of More for Memphis, and are you financially invested in this initiative? Number nine, who exactly are the people behind the More for Memphis? Why aren't the founders and leadership listed publicly, and what are their backgrounds? Number 10, and I have six more. How will this ordinance ensure that resources go directly into those in need rather than being swallowed up by administrative costs and overhead? 11, how much more money is allocated to More for Memphis staff salaries, and what other salaries for those in leadership roles? Number 12, what portion of the $100 million is estimated to go towards operational costs versus direct services to the community? Number 13, is there a plan to report back to the community on a quarterly or annual basis about progress and funding allocations? 14, 15, and 16, if More for Memphis is indeed focused on community uplift, why not direct funding towards established minority-led organizations that already serve Memphis vulnerable populations? What accountability measures will be in place to prevent conflicts of interest, financial mismanagement, and misuse of taxpayer fundings? And last, number
Centuria Johnson, 4422 Hickory Hill Road, Memphis, Tennessee 38141. Good morning, commissioners. Again, my name is Centuria Johnson, and I'm here today as a concerned citizen, community advocate, and voice for the people of Memphis who are tired of seeing our hard-earned tax dollars miss the mark. I stand before you to oppose the More for Memphis ordinance, not because I disagree with its goals, but because I see it as a wasteful misdirection of the resources that could truly impact our community. Our tax dollars should be used to empower those who have been fighting poverty here for years. Those who know our neighborhoods, understand our people, and have committed their lives to improving Memphis. Instead, More for Memphis creates an additional layer of bureaucracy that serves to fund its own operations, administrative salaries, and overhead costs rather than directly helping the people of Shelby County. Every dollar that goes to staff salaries and overhead for this outside fiscal agent is a dollar lost to grassroots minority-led organizations that desperately need support. These organizations, like Daughters of Zion, have been doing this work without the benefit of multi-million-dollar grants or corporate connections. They've been doing it because they believe in Memphis and its people. They are the ones who should be entrusted with our community's resources, not an external entity with little accountability to the voters. We, the citizens, did not vote for a third-party administrator to decide where our money goes. We voted for you, our elected representatives, to make those decisions and to keep that power in the hands of people who are accountable to us. This ordinance outsources that responsibility, stripping away local control and community oversight. Think about the impact these funds could have if they went directly into the hands of local organizations that know our community's needs. Imagine the real change we could see if the dollars supported job training programs, youth mentorship, affordable housing initiatives, and health services offered by people who live and work here. I urge you, commissioners, to remember why we elected you, to protect and uplift the people of Memphis and Shelby County. More for Memphis is more of the same, more for administrators, more for overhead, more for outside entities profiting off our poverty, and less for the people you represent. Let's keep our tax dollars working for us, not for bureaucratic middlemen. Reject this ordinance and let's invest in the organizations and people who are here on the ground day in and day out, committed to seeing Memphis thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Monique Wade.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners. Monique Wade. My name is Monique Wade. I'm hereby to ask some critical questions about the More for Memphis ordinance. I oppose this ordinance not because I'm against for promoting economic mobility, but because I believe the plan has raised more questions than answers, especially when it comes to transparency, accountability, and the use of our tax dollars. The ordinance claims that More for Memphis has already secured $1 million in private philanthropic capital towards its economic mobility goals. If that's true, I ask you, where is the proof? Please show us the documentation that confirms the $100 million has already been raised. And if such a large amount is already in hand, why does More for Memphis need additional taxpayers' funding? The ordinance goes further, stating that an additional $300 million is the expected to be raised in philanthropic capital. Again, I ask if you can anticipate securing hundreds of millions from private sources. Why should Memphis taxpayers be expected to contribute even more? If there's already a strong foundation of private support, why not operate as a private foundation? That would allow More for Memphis to fund these initiatives without adding yet another burden on taxpayers. This is about fiscal responsibility and respecting the hard-earned money of Memphis residents. Why should we pay into a program that seems to have ample private resources to stand on its own? Our tax dollars should go towards direct services in our community, not to support an additional layer of bureaucracy that could operate independently if these funds truly exist. If More for Memphis has the financial support it claims, then let it prove itself without taxpayers' funding. Our community deserves transparency.
Is it 2 minutes? Okay, the clerk has been giving previous speakers prior to you 2 minutes, so you get 2 minutes.
Okay, I would urge the body to reject and hold the $300K in Chamber Workforce Administrative support until you get a readout from all parties regarding business as usual. In another Chamber Workforce botch, while knowing the touted accelerated skills center is far behind schedule. I'd like to apologize to Dr. Sturgis for interrupting his recent YMCA visit with business. The Y for me is a sanctuary, and I should not have professionally interrupted his visit, and won't happen again, as I like to see people taking care of themselves at the Y. Local budget season has begun, and the public does not know. An expansive, redundant, and publicly expansive, non-transparent measure for branch of government and More for Memphis is before you. Anything this magnitude should embrace cost containment, with which this measure does not do, as with an estimated $100 million per year in local tax dollars over the 5 years, for a total of $500 million in local tax dollars is estimated. Beyond budget ask and whimsical quarterly reports, financial transparency should be with current financials, in like More for Memphis' seeding successes, actual current financials, which they alluded to. Open public board meetings and answering public information requests should be part of it. The county needs to administer their own data away from incestually collaborating with the private sector. You have a quote from me, it's not that expensive. I've never, ever heard any of the More for Memphis affiliates publicly advocate for the above tenets or against excessive corporate welfare as practiced by, for example, EDGE, MRPP, and the Sports Authority. MFM is more taxes for Memphis. And we should be concerned about a seating success board chaired by deposed MATA Chair Michael Fulton and folks like Blair Taylor, President of Memphis Tomorrow, and Albright, Chair of EDGE, non-transparently managing $100 million per year in public funds. Please reject this in its current form. This is a formalized Memphis Tomorrow branch of local government is what it is. Thank you.